Content Catch-up.
Ladies, gentlemen, dogs, cats, mothers of the world. Hey, Bucks, did you know your mum... welcome, Bucks, anyway. But do you know Mon messaged me the other day?
She messaged us, yes. Hello, Mon. You'll be watching.
A picture of Poppy. Poppy's adorable. Poppy the cat.
Poppy's
Thanks for that, Mon. It really brightened up my Saturday. I needed that.
So during the week, I told my good friend Jules, I was going to say co-host, but I don't want to, talk down to you again. But during the week, I told Jules some exciting news. 1, got a house. 2, that my mum got a cat. And you could give 2 shits about me getting a house. You were just ecstatic about the cat.
Well, because you'd already told me about the house. And
No, but it was
the
like
house is...
officially official.
Well, the cat, though. The cat, Poppy.
Just be happy for me for once. But how are you this...
Poppy, mate.
Enough about me. How are you this weekend? I listened to our episode last week and I was very disappointed in myself. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because I didn't ask you what you've been doing. We just cut straight to content. We talked about me. So
we always just talk about you, though. That's the greatest part about this show.
This Monday morning's about you.
Yeah, we are filming on a Monday morning, Labor Day. I'm going all right, Bucks. I was telling you off air, though. I'm without credit card because my PayPal got hacked. I might start like a small donations link in the comments if users want to send through $1 or so just to get me through this rough time. I'd much appreciate it.
All right, we can do that. We'll see what we get.
Yeah, we can do a little Patreon or something.
I think it should be towards something good though, not just you. No offense.
Well, I'm pretty good. How about this? I'll start an OnlyFans, and for every dollar I get, I'll take off a bit of clothing.
Oh yeah, that's not for this pod. You can start your own show.
Anyway, Bucks, we had a good weekend. We caught up for some drinks. We did. Went to the Railway Hotel. We nearly broadcast the show live from there. Would have been dangerous.
Would have been a nice setup, actually.
Yeah, it would have been on the rooftop there. Maybe we can get a sponsorship gig. But how was the rest of your weekend? You doing well?
Really well, thank you. Yeah, big weekend. Big weekend in the Barker household. No, it was my birthdays, you know.
Birthdays, yeah, we did.
New t-shirt from one and only Jules.
Bit of merch there. Turn around, show them the back.
Okay, I'll see it.
Yeah, nice. A bit of Blake's Bargains there. Coming soon to an Etsy store near you.
Speaking of Blake Griffin, did you hear?
What, he retired finally?
Fuck off. He might as well. No, he's rumoured to sign with Brooklyn, so he's bought out by Detroit, and now he's joining the super team that is the Brooklyn Nets.
Brooklyn. Nice. Have Brooklyn actually been good? I saw they went on a bit of a run, but I didn't think they'd been tearing the league apart like anyone else.
I think just with these, the big names joining each other, they always take time, so they haven't been amazing. They've been probably pretty average considering who they've got, but I don't really get how Blake Griffin's going to fit NBA fans.
Just let me know what you think, mate. He'll just fit on the bench.
That's true.
Yeah.
Don't disrespect a great man like that.
Bucks, my mother might be making a surprise appearance on the show today because her arrival is impending. She could be here in 10 minutes, she could be here in 15, she could be here in 10 seconds. So let's get on with the show. Tell us about your content for this week.
My content this week. Firstly, it's good to talk about somebody else's mother. Hello. I don't know your mother's name.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Jeez, know something about me, why don't you?
You talk too much about my mother. This week, today actually is the NBA All-Star Game. I want to use that as an excuse to talk about All-Star Games in sport in general. So, I want to get your opinion, and we'll talk about AFLX, which is always fun. So the NBA, this is a bit of a traditionalist versus, I guess, modern fans, this topic, but for those that don't know, quickly I'll just break down what the NBA do, and maybe you can give me a bit of insight into what the NFL do, because I had a bit of a look, but couldn't really find much.
Pro Bowl.
I saw it was called the Pro Bowl, but anyway, the NBA a few years ago broke the traditional sort of East versus West conference setup where basically you can only be drafted or put into the teams in the division you're from. They went to a bit of a schoolyard pick your own team style. So they picked 2 captains, Team LeBron and Team Kevin Durant this season. And basically they just pick their own team. And another big part of it is resetting how they do the scoring. So it's not your typical 4 quarters running score. They have 4 quarters where the score resets at the at the end of each quarter, Jules.
There you go.
There I go. And at the end, the fourth quarter, this one is untimed. It plays to a final score. So the game can only be won on a made bucket, which is quite exciting. But I want to know, let's compare why the AFLX didn't work. Because it was, well, let's dive into it. Because I think they should be applauded for trying it. I know it was one turned into, like AFLX turned into the running joke of the league, whereas the NBA worked and everyone loved it.
I think the biggest thing about AFLX is that they changed the game too dramatically, too quickly. So they hadn't got the AFLX preseason cup right in its first instance before they then just changed it into a game of like, I don't know. I don't even know how you describe the game.
What if AFLX was an all-star thing? Do you think that would have helped?
Technically it was. Like, sort of.
I forgot.
They had too many teams, right? They had like 6 teams.
So creating new teams was one thing that would probably push the corniness. Do you think it would have helped if they were called Team Dangerfield? Probably not.
Probably not. Nah. Yeah, they went really heavy down that like superhero thing, didn't they?
I think that, so their target audience seemed probably more towards the kids, but then again, if you're going to call it like Team LeBron and Team Giannis, where it's been the last few years in NBA, I feel like Australians would still think that's corny as hell, but they love it over there.
I think like AFL's hard, right? Because what the fans are screaming out for, or what it seems to be, is just a typical state of origin, right? Which is, if you look at using NBA as an example, for the longest time, that's what it was. It was state of origin. So they had the format ready, and maybe they then reached the point where the game had become stale because they'd done it to death, right? Well, state of origin still has its place here. And maybe that's saying like AFLX, but make it state of origin. You know what I mean? So you still have your Vics versus your South Australians versus your Western Australians versus your All-Stars. Put it in a different format, whatever it might be. So it's a little easier for kids to consume, or it looks nicer in an international audience. But don't give us this bullshit where you pop out with like this silver fucking ball.
They went too far.
Fireworks after they just went way too fucking far. Sorry,
I think
for all the language people, but
no, it's fine. My point to this is, I think if you work in these big leagues, you have to continue to push the button on how to develop it. So I think the idea of trying something like AFLX could have worked, but my point to this discussion is, would you like to see, or maybe in the NRL, would you like to see them give it another red hot crack with an all-star team?
I don't think NRL they need to. Because their state of origin is just like that's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. And because they just divided Queensland and New South Wales, it's just the longest standing rivalry, right? Look, I wouldn't be opposed to the AFLX coming back. And I think the other thing, if we bring it back to a content perspective, right, they just didn't nail anything about it. Like, they introduced all these superhero characters that kind of like were a bit nothing, whereas I don't know, I think they would have been smarter to go down a path of like to make it more appealing for kids, if that's what they were trying to do. You know how recently the NFL did a partnership with Nickelodeon where they just let Nickelodeon take over the game and do some like cool SpongeBob graphics during the game and like slime and all that stuff. That would have been a lot smarter than, oh, here are these 4 new superhero characters that you're only going to find during the AFLX, and then you're never going to hear of again. They just disappeared. So they completely fucked it.
Yeah, you're clearly team negative on this one, which, no, you've got every right to be, as with the majority of Australia are. But I think the target audience is one, if you took an exact replicate of the NBA and just chose 2 big names to host it, they turn into their draft almost into like a little TV show where they let you hand pick who they want. And I think the players they pick are on camera. So it's like a whole different world of, oh, what if Dangerfield wanted to team up with Dusty? Like, what if they actually wanted to form their teams? And it just creates so many avenues of content, and everybody loves like a schoolyard pick 'em, pick your own team.
They actually tried to do that with the AFLX. Remember, they broadcast the like draft on television, and like they had Jack Rewalt, Paddy Dangerfield, whoever else was. I think Eddie Betts was a captain.
The team captains, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think they did.
They did do that. They did it poorly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like, I don't want to
probably
be too negative on the AFLX because they did try something different, but they just didn't nail it.
Yeah. No, and that's probably why it's a good example of nailing it versus not nailing it. But one thing, one other bit to this is, remember the player entrances?
Oh yeah, where they
another thing they went too far on. Like, I think if your target audience was more our age demographic, maybe a bit younger, I think the player walk-in is something that American sports do superbly with wearing what they can wear. And I like the thought of AFLX, but again, he just went too far and it sort of ruined it.
Went too far. Again, if we bring it back to like a content perspective, the thing that the NBA does well and the thing that the NFL does well is that they make it into a weekend. So it's always like the all-star weekend. So even if you're not that interested in the game, you've got the fantastic like dunk contest that happens on one day. You got the 3-point shootout. You've got the skills run. I think they do
challenge
as well.
And NFL do that as well, don't they? Because I was
they do that.
I was looking at the Pro Bowl or whatever you said it was called, and they have all those mini games almost. So it's like a whole.
Yeah, they do.
It's like a whole like event outside of the game. But wonder if the AFL could do that.
Well, the
don't
other
know what they
good thing
do
about
the
longest kick,
the longest kick,
trick goals. You could still do the skills challenge and stuff like that, like kicking into a bin, handballing through a target, fastest time through cones. Like, there's so much stuff you could do. The other good thing with the Pro Bowl, and maybe why you get more player buy-in, which is what we were talking about last week, is like the most important thing about any of these kind of content opportunities is player buy-in. Because let's face it, the AFLX is just a content opportunity. It's nothing like for the game. Is that they do it just after the regular season is finished, like the week before the Super Bowl, and the only players that are invited are the teams that are not in the grand final. Yeah. So yes, you might be missing out on, let's say, a handful of the best players in the league, but you probably have way more buy-in from players that are just like finishing up are still in like some sort of mindset where they can be like, okay, one more week, we'll be a part of this something special, and then we can go on and have a break and do whatever. Yeah.
No, it's interesting to see what the NFL, and I was trying to see what the NHL do as well, but I think they just stick to their traditional conferences.
No, they have an all-star game, all-star weekend as well.
No, but like, it's still traditional of East versus West, right?
Oh yeah,
it's not like anything pick your own team. But anyway, I just thought it was an interesting point that there's very tiny pieces that I think if they were to try something, maybe with the All-Australian squad, what if that was a game? Things like that. Take it from your AFLX failures and turn that into something that could work, maybe.
I just think like if they did everything they did with AFLX but had kept the game the same, it might have been different. I think that's where they lost a lot of people, where they tried to introduce... Yeah, just like weird.
Cool. No, thanks for your input, Jules.
Can't wait for the NBA All-Star Weekend. I always look forward to see what comes out of that. Very exciting.
Well, you won't be able to set in your deepest monotone that you could. You won't be able to wait long. It's in like an hour.
Oh.
So let's buckle in. Maybe we should go live. Let's watch it.
No. All right. Bucks, not from you. Can you just hush a little bit there?
Sorry. I thought it was my job to talk a bit on this podcast. I was mistaken.
We're on to me. It's me time.
True.
The real host of the show.
Oh.
Let me tell you what I'm loving at the moment. I'm going to share my screen if you've allowed this functionality today.
I have.
Yeah, you have. Good boy. Clever boy. Very clever. I'm in basketball as well. But I'm on to the New York Knicks.
Well, they're good this season. Well,
they are good this season. Number one, this video edit is chef's kiss, molto bene. I have no idea who this guy is, but he's now my new favorite player.
There's the signature floater once again. Quickly from downtown. Bang! Emmanuel quickly once again.
stop playing. Part 2, got the dub. Gotta keep going, keep winning.
Quickly,
Just from watching this edit, yeah.
he's like I don't know where he got drafted, but he's new to the scene.
I actually retweeted this off the content catch-up account the other day because I just think like the edits in it are so like clever, like the way that they bring in certain elements, the quick nature of it. It's fun, right?
Yeah.
And this is what I want to talk about. The New York Knicks have obviously sucked for the longest time, as long as I can remember, and I don't know how well they're doing this year, but I saw they were on a bit of a win run as well. And it clearly looks like they're doing a lot better. Don't know what happened because at the start of the year, they were in meme territory. Remember when they posted that picture of like the coach with the whiteboard? And we're like, it's going to be a long season for them.
Yeah.
What I want to get your thoughts on, Bucks, is like, obviously as a losing team, you can't always like have fun with content. But then when you start winning, you get to be able to do more fun stuff like this, or like slicker edits, more photos, better graphics, more celebrations. How important do you think it is for teams to kind of like transition from that protective like mentality and tone to something a bit more lighthearted, energetic, and fun?
Yeah. No, I think it's a really good point because to answer your question, it's very important. I think that edit, just using something like that, you honestly can't do that for the last 3 to 4 years, because if you do, who the hell are you going to choose? Like, there's probably not one of your players that are playing that well that you can sort of market or make that sort of slick edit of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting one because, like, how exciting would that be if you worked with the New York Knicks, like one of the biggest teams in the world, and you're shit for, imagine if you worked there for the past 5 years, then this season comes along, and with winning comes opportunity. Well, that sounds cool.
That's a very good sound grab. With winning comes opportunity. Thank you, Uncle Ben.
I thought it was good.
No, that is good. No, I think that's a good point as well. And I think we talk so much about like social media having a certain personality and also being reflective of the personalities and mood of your fans. And obviously you can't do that when you're losing. Like, you can't just tweet your shit or whatever. No. But when you are winning, it's so important to maximize that vibe that's going around your crowd and like celebrate, because you haven't had anything to celebrate for the longest time. So why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you go the extra mile and be like, okay, Quickly's been nominated for a Rising Star, We typically would just go with a graphic. Nah, fuck it. Video, highlights, interviews. Let's get him in the front and center of as many things as we can for as long as we can and ride this wave.
No, I rate that because you don't know how long it's going to last, and you'd be so used to these things getting torn to shreds if you tried to do something like that years ago. Exactly.
It's just I hope that the winning streak continues from the Knicks, because they've clearly got some talented people working there.
Yeah.
Because that's just one of a few videos that I saw that I thought, this is really sleek. This is a nice edit. And I want to see more of it.
Yeah.
And they're such an iconic franchise as well, aren't they? Like,
exactly. It's a really interesting point, actually, to discuss if you were one of the most creative people on earth and you work for one of these teams, how many times have you been told no if you're not a good performing team on field or on the ground?
It's a very good point.
How does that impact, you could dive even deeper into it, how much does that impact your personal development working from a shit team?
Probably a hell of a lot. Like, you would get so over it, wouldn't it? Like, you'd be... I often think this with media managers in particular, like when they've had a bad team, they protect that their first thing is to go on the defense rather than go on the offense and be like, hey, this is actually quite good.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate some. Let's get players out in the front of the media, because they've been burned by it before. I guess that happens with social media managers as well. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. What do you think?
I think it'd be really interesting to one day talk to someone who you could pick a sport, any sport, where you've gone from the complete one end, like the worst of the worst to the best of the best. I mean, like, imagine if someone worked at... well, eventually, yeah. Positive. Someone worked at Richmond for 10 years, how they've seen something... how they've seen things change, Yeah, I mean, you could find a sport and sort of ask anyone because sport doesn't matter, but it's if you worked at a franchise that have sucked the majority of your career, and if, say, you were working on the marketing side of things, that would be pretty interesting to see how things have changed and your approach.
Yeah, I think so as well. And the thing I keep coming back to is like the things can change so quickly in sport. Like you don't know.
Good pun.
Pun?
Yeah, the guy's name's Quickly.
Ah, I didn't even know his name.
Emmanuel
I
Quickly,
really got to start paying attention to what I'm watching, don't I?
Oh, I mean, let's be honest. That player, it's not really too relevant who the player is.
Nah, it's not.
Anyway, did you? I just cut you off. Was that end of your sentence?
No, I was just saying what we keep saying is like you got to make the most of it because you don't know when this run's going to end. They could lose every other game for the rest of this year.
And like we talk about like the small wins as well. Take them.
Yeah.
And use them
Absolutely.
for content. No, good discussion point. I think it's interesting. So well done.
Thanks, Sparks. All right.
I just wanted to touch on. We did say we'd have a guest today, and it's still in the background. We're very excited to have this guest on, but hopefully next week, listeners. So in case you were wondering when we first opened this episode, why are these two just talking to themselves again, basically? Well, it's happening next week, hopefully, or the week after. Otherwise, deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, you're the one who tunes in, so if you don't like it, just stop listening.
True.
Dickheads.
All right, that's unfair. I said before that I was having a good weekend. You know what? It hasn't been that great, actually.
Why not, Barks?
It was my birthday weekend. Did a lot. Got spoiled. Friends, family. Saw your face, Jules. But there were no eggs. What's the point of having a birthday with no eggs? So can we get some eggs? At least didn't
make you any brekkie.
Well, or I didn't make them, but yeah.
Yeah, no eggs.
So I want some eggs. Give me some eggs.
We'll get some eggs, yeah. Let's get some eggs. Have you got an egg to start with?
I do. Do you want me to kick us off?
Yeah, go on. Kick us off.
I've got two, actually.
Okay.
First, I'm going to share my screen. I reckon I've seen this because I think you commented on something on Facebook. This, I'd recommend. We'll find a link to it, but this popped up. Darren, actually, good old Darren. He sent this to a group chat, and basically, there's a tweet just in capitals. What is this sport? And we'll give it a watch, Jules, but listeners, it's basically a mix of wrestling and basketball, and I can't see one single rule involved. There's literally just people spear tackling each other off to the side, a couple of others just sort of sumo wrestling to protect the guy with the ball. I think at one point someone goes for a normal basketball layup and someone literally just coat hangers him. It's just play on.
There's no dribbling. There's nothing. It's so good.
There's just
What's
literally
this guy doing? Just shoot your shot.
They're just sumo wrestling.
And there's no pads either.
No, they're almost in like a wrestling, some sort of wrestling singlet. Anyway, I think the aim of the sport, it looks like you can score through a normal basketball ring. Oh, he's got decked. Or you can. It might even be a bit of a handball setup. But anyway, my egg of the week is whatever the hell this sport is.
You see that guy just toss him on the side? Just choke a hold.
Just choking him out. Anyway, whoever invented this sport. In fact, every single player that plays this sport, you're an egg.
They look like some sort of Russian, Eastern European setup there.
Yeah, it did actually. Yeah,
no
great
offense
stuff
to our Russian listeners. Please don't come after us.
All one of you. Well, one of you would be nice, but what do you have you got an egg?
Yeah, I do have an egg. Mine's a pretty simple one. I'm going to see if I can find it again because I think it might be gone.
I've got another one if you want me to.
Yeah, you go.
Back to back eggs.
Back it up.
This one is I'm egging Fox Footy. Fox Footy is just a bit of an example of not being, I guess, socially aware of how a message comes across or the wording of particular messages.
Yeah.
Did you see Shane Warne involved in anything? Oh.
Hi, Mum.
Oh.
Mum, I've got about 10 minutes left of recording. Sorry.
Hi, Mum.
Bark says hi. She said hi.
Yeah, I heard it. Wow. Our first interaction. Yes, did you see any example of Shane Warne? We'll go through this quickly. Shane Warne, Fox Footy during the week?
Yes, I did.
So let's just listen to this. I'll send you... Oh, you've seen it, but we can post it in the snippet. It's literally an 8-second teaser for the show of our game when Saints and the Blues played in the first, I guess, Pracky. It was the first proper Pracky match, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, Shane Warne. I'll share the screen even though we don't need to.
It was the JLM one. That's the one. I think it was.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna listen to see exactly what he said.
G'day guys, this is Massive. It's footy season, AFL, proper footy at St Kilda Carlton right here on Fox Footy on Thursday
And
night.
I just don't get the awareness of how that comes across and what, I don't know, like it's actually a phone recorded video and that he or the person putting it up didn't sort of realise that it gives negative implications on AFLW. And yes,
Correct.
It is very sensitive these days, but I guess there's a reason for it.
You're right. The broadcaster should have picked up on that and just been like, nah,
Yeah.
this
But
is not good.
You could be right. It probably, likely chances it wasn't even referring to women's footy, so it's a hard one, but I just thought I'd bring it up as an egg.
No, egg him. Get him. Egg him.
Why not?
All right.
Did you
I
find
found mine. Yep, found it. All right. So this comes from my old mate. Not my old mate. Joffa Korf.
Oh.
Collingwood cheer squad. Guy. So after the Collingwood report, the Do Better report came out, Joffa tweeted this, and I'm working off the assumption that this is his actual account and not like some crap one, because it's kept tweeting afterwards. No one's come out and said that this is a fake account. This is actually him. So this is what Joffa tweeted after the Do Better report by Collingwood. It says, for those at home, the slur that everyone associated with Collingwood is racist or guilty of racism will be with us for a long time. It is heartbreaking to say the least. So you're thinking, Joffa, yeah, nice guy, has thought about this, right? The next tweet. Get rid of, all off spelt incorrectly, he means of. Get rid of all Indian workers in aged care might be a start. In response to, I'm guessing, the aged care bungle by the government.
Probably.
Jeez, Joff.
Yeah,
You are an egg. You can't have it one way or the other. You can't. And to all the Indian workers out there, don't listen to him.
No, you just have to wonder what goes. Yeah, big peanut of the week.
Peanut of the week. Like, they're trying to do the right thing, and then you have someone so publicly associated with the club come out and say, someone you've championed over the years as like this great person of your club, someone that you know, the Collingwood person, and they say something like that, and you're like, well, okay, no, that's enough of that.
That just makes everyone,
Yeah.
Yep, no, good egg. I'm just mindful of your mum being there. Do you have Boss of the Week? I put it in the schedule, but I don't have one.
Yeah, I've got a quick one. Let me share my screen again.
All right.
Hold on.
Bosses.
Couple of bosses, but this is my favourite one from this week. The New South Wales Swifts calling out again the lack of coverage of female sport in the media.
I didn't see this one.
This is great. So they've gone through, I don't know what website it is. It looks like news.com.au or something like that. Yeah, it is the news.com.au website. So they've gone through, they're scrolling through the video that is, they've got every single sport listed here, right? Every single sport. And there's nothing about Australia's national netball team playing in the Constellation Cup. Nothing. Not one thing. So they've called it out. So first of all, this could be a double. This could be our first ever egg / boss of the week in one.
Wow, that's huge.
Eggs, Australian media, be better, have better representation of sport, especially female sport, especially female national sport. Like,
yeah,
come on. And then the New South Wales Swifts for putting together this video, for having the like calling it out, basically doing it right. And then the background music, which makes this even better, is the theme song from 2.5 Men. So it's just
that's good. Speaking of Australian media being eggs, didn't this exact same thing happen or similar thing when Melbourne won the netball
Yep.
grand final, whatever it's called. It wasn't even on
Remember
there.
they did that. We talked about it in our grand
photo
final
shoot.
bonanza. If you want to go back to that episode, yeah, they stuffed up the photo shoot basically.
Took the photos, just didn't use them or cut the women out. No, your
Brilliant.
eggs. We actually had some fan questions submitted this week, Jules. If you've got to go, we can save it for next week though. Or do you want to quickly go through
let's
them?
go through them. Let's go quickly through them. I reckon we just divide and conquer.
Yep. All right, I'll kick us off. First one submitted: best unique gifts you've seen a sports team do. I think I don't actually have a specific team. Melbourne Storm do very good ones. I think theirs is mainly sort of media day ones where they'll put the effort of animating something in After Effects, it looks like, and theirs is all very slick. Usually when a try is scored from memory. I don't have any other really good examples apart from that. I will say my favourite type of gifs are basically ones that you've captured with your own team camera from your video people, and you've made that into a GIF and you can repurpose it. So my favourite are the ones that, breaking down really simple, someone giving up a shuckers or a thumbs up to the camera, giving a cheeky smile, and then something happens during a live game where that's appropriate for that player, and you've got a whole library to pump them out. They're my favourites.
The ones that happen a bit more organically, basically.
Yes.
I think.
Yes, good word.
No, that's a good
Organic.
point. I think if you are looking, this is from Paddy as well, our friend Paddy, shout out.
Yeah.
If you are looking, have a look at the Premier League. I think there's a couple of teams there, like Arsenal and Liverpool do a good job with their photo day gifts that they collect. So have a look through those. There's a lot of good ones there.
Yeah, good call.
And also, if you are browsing, have a look for the Natalie Plain. I'm going to give Carlton a plug here because the Natalie Plain sticker celebration GIF is one of the best that I've seen.
Okay.
Well
Well, I'm sure we'll see plenty of that through our AFLW accounts.
Yep.
Quick on GIFs. Yes or no? Do you like GIFs from nothing to do with sport, but say TV shows? Edwin touched on I feel like the movement of like using Simpsons GIFs and something irrelevant to sport was huge. Do you like sport teams still using that, or do you think it's done?
Reaction GIFs. I don't think it's done, but I think it has to be done timely and what's the word? You can't overdo it. I think that's the biggest thing. Like there was a point where we were doing it after every goal, but right now I think maybe once or twice a game you'd be set.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Is that your thoughts?
Yes, they were my thoughts. I think it can be some people's defaults almost, like, oh, this will be funny, but just try to make it as relevant as possible because then they're sort of the best used. All right, next one, probably more a you question.
I'll take this one. This one's
he's talking about.
This is from my our IT guy and also my neighbour, Saliba. His question is Uncle Joe's or Melbourne Kebab Station, and I think Daniel, we all know the answer to this. There's only one place you get a kebab, and it's Uncle Joe's. Let's not waste time with Melbourne Kebab Station. They take card. You're not paying for a kebab with a card. It needs to be cash. You know it's good when it's cash, and it's in a booth at the side of a car wash. Uncle Joe's.
I love that. That's how you find. That's how you know where the good kebabs are. Do you take card? Oh no, thank you.
No, I can't. And that's not a sponsored plug, but I'd be gladly sponsored by Uncle Joe's Kebab. Their falafel one. Multiple band.
See, that'd be cool. This content
great.
catch-up brought to you by Uncle Joe's.
Last question. I'll take this one. This one's from another friend of ours, Tennyson. Tennyson did an internship with us at Carlton at one stage and now he's a video producer out at Collingwood, I believe. So congratulations, Tennyson.
Awesome.
The question is, where do each of you... You've really thrown me here because you've written where do each of us. And I was going to read it as yous. Where do each of you want to go in your careers?
Want me to kick us off?
Yeah, but you've got
Mine?
30 seconds.
Jesus, why is it so hard? No, I don't have a great answer.
You've got no career ambition.
I don't have a great answer to this. Is it Tennyson? I'm not
Tennyson.
Isn't it? I don't have a great answer to this, Tennyson. I feel like most people have sort of the next level or next thing they want to do. Mine, to put simply, is doing what I'm doing right now, but keep adapting to the industry and finding ways to see what's next and push myself. I know that sounds corny, but I think it's sort of a unique answer, which you'd probably agree with, Jules. But I love sort of the space I'm in now. I don't have ambitions to manage people because people are shit. No, I don't want to manage teams or anything. I just don't think that's really me. And I'm comfortable with that. So, yeah, that's my answer.
Hey, you can still be a senior video producer without managing people, and I think that's the key. And to be fair, we've spoken about this a bit, Barks, because of your background. Like, you're just enjoying doing what you're doing, and I think that's so cool.
Yeah, I don't want to lose creating. Creating time is basically my thing.
Which is what happens when you manage a team full of shitheads.
Shout Scooter Martin.
Shout out. With me, I've probably in a different space to Barks. I'm shifting a little bit more away from the content production. I like having a say in it, but I'm not enjoying the day-to-day of it as much as I was. I like the strategic content. So I think with me, I'd probably want to become a head of digital eventually and oversee a bit more of that side, and kind of bring AFL or some sport club into the next era. Fuck, that feels like we're on a job interview, doesn't it? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Yeah, no, it's good to. It's
good
always
question.
interesting. It's a good question. You're always interested to hear what people think and where they want to go in the sort of people you follow on social media. And it's nice that someone wanted to know that about us, Jules. Two very different answers, but it's probably a bit intriguing. Both of us being almost opposite in that regard, but hey, we're a beautiful team, so.
Hey, opposites attract, Barks. Opposites attract.
A track's probably pushing it, but that's it. We're going to wrap this up. No, thank you, everyone. Jules has got to go paint his kitchen cupboards with his lovely mother. Hello, if you're listening.
Hold on a sec. Mum, come here for a sec.
God. She can't hear me there. I'll just wave.
Come here.
Jules is just going to make his mum feature on the show.
Wants to meet you. You're already
She can
on.
just
They
wave.
Can hear you. Say something.
Hi.
My mum, everyone. Barks said hi. Mum's here to help me do the kitchen. I better go. Thanks everyone for listening.
You do. Thank you, everyone. Head to our socials. Normal biz during the week. Hopefully, and a very exciting guest for you next week. So thanks for joining us. Off you go, Jules.
Off I go.